I think it's been a competitive camp. As we start to build the room and the way that all of us as offensive coaches start to see the tight end being utilized, what you start to see is the guys that came in that are better at a couple different facets of play start to push the other guys, because it just starts to create a little bit of that internal competition of, I don't want to be shown up, that's how I can do it better. And then you start to get a bunch of guys that really uplift and continue to build and grow their skill set. And that's what I've seen through the fall. Obviously key flashes with a lot of the plays that he makes in the air. But what I think has been cool is you see him make a lot of those splash plays in terms of catching the football. What that does is that makes Alex Lines, that makes Tanner, it makes a lot of the guys in the room like Berto, hey, I got to be able to make those plays too. And then from a run blocking standpoint, it works the same way. You start to see Alex Lines have some unbelievable edge-setting blocks. Keyan, hey, I can do that too. And so it continues to grow that way. And that's what I've seen through these, 9, 10 some odd practices so far.
What's the biggest development in terms of growing into a blocking tight end like Keyan's trying to do?
I think it's just understanding front structures and gap fits, trying to get them to, understand to anticipate things. Instead of just telling him, hey, you've got to block a defensive end, he's got this gap control and he's trying to fit this gap and squeeze so you can use a lot of his defensive responsibility against him.
Are those two guys playing the same position right now?
We're trying to find a variety of different ways that we can match them up. We're going to put them in the game where majority of the time Alex Lines will be the Y and Key will be the F, which is a little bit more of your traditional flex out receiving tight end. But I also want to see what both of those guys can do in terms of flipping that role and seeing what we can get done, because, it's going to be trial by fire for Key.
What went into the decision to move Isaiah to the other side, and what are your expectations?
I think it was a little bit of just depth, quite frankly. Trying to make sure that we're finding a way to not have one or two of those guys on the field for 100 different plays during the course of a practice. But secondly is Isaiah did a lot of return work for me in the special teams game, so I saw how smart he was and how capable he was in terms of understanding fits. And for what we're able to do with Clay, I see being able to potentially build a rollout for him in that manner as well. Yeah, but I've been really, really surprised and pleasantly surprised, not really surprised, I think, just in terms of how well he fits the run and how well he does stuff at the line of scrimmage as well.
What have you added to your plate in terms of special teams duties?
Every single part of it. So it was already doing the return units were kind of my baby from this past year, but everything from field goal block to kickoff, coordinating every single facet of the teams.
Where were the breakdowns in punt protection last year, and how do you avoid repeating that?
I think a lot of them were just one-on-one matchups, and I think being able to overemphasize what the intent of our punt protection is, starting off with, hey, we're going to protect first instead of, and then react to hold up. I think we just have to get back to fundamentals, because a lot of that, you go to a lot of press conferences and that's kind of coach speak, right? Is we got to get better at technique and fundamentals. But I think that's the honest to goodness truth. So when you start off a spring camp or you start off a fall camp, you get back to square one and you really beat those down and make sure that everybody's dialed on the expectation and the intent of your punt coverage. And then you start to see a little bit of the flourishing in terms of being able to grow and build some FBI.
Those guys who stand in front of the punter, like three guys, I guess, usually, what are they called, and who are the guys that you trust?
So they are the shield, and those guys are essentially the last line of defense. We're going to move a couple of different ways and kind of formation it a little bit differently, so it's not always going to be just a three-man deal. We're going to jump around, but that's kind of been my background and what I'm comfortable with, just in terms of how we can get guys in different positions to be able to make it unique and formate some things and get fast guys down the field.
Is it typically tight ends, offensive linemen, defensive linemen?
A mixture of both. I think you have to reevaluate those roles every single time. As you start to add eligible numbers into that shield, that changes things for a punt return unit as well in terms of aggressiveness and cover down rules.
Do you have any kickers or punters or walk-ons who are coming in
We
the
are-
summer to add some more legs, more competition?
We're definitely in the process of recruiting a couple guys to be able to do exactly what you said, is to be able to build a little bit of depth. But also, I think competition's got to be the central thing in everything that you do. And that'll make Luke better. That'll make Dort better. Had fantastic seasons, especially to finish it. But there's no reason that we can't push the envelope and make sure that those guys are continuing to progress as well.
Like, how would you summarize the experience so far?
I mean, it's a college experience. It's everything I've expected so far. It's great. You know, there's a great culture around the team and with the coaching staff, so I love it.
How often did you actually block at the line in high school?
A good amount. I would say probably 30% of the time I was blocking.
And has that maybe been the biggest adjustment so far, that you're doing more of that?
That and, you know, just the game is faster. So even with like route running and running routes, it's just everything's faster. So.
What has been, besides the speed, what's been the biggest adjustment in terms of going from the offense that you played in before to this one?
Just how complex the offense is here. You know, we run a really high-level system with Coach Fish and everyone else. So that'd probably be the biggest thing, the playbook.
Do you find yourself still kind of thinking out there at times?
You know, I don't like to think and play at the same time, so I've made sure to study pretty much every night. So I get out there and I'm just playing fast.
How much time do you spend per night?
Usually like 20, 30 minutes, consistency. So.
Looking and doing what? Just going over the plays?
Yeah.
Kind of on a piece of paper or on an iPad?
Exactly. You know, me and my roommates, we're all in the same boat, so we all go over it together.
How would you describe the competition in the tight end group?
It's great. You know, I'm blessed to have a lot of guys that are older than me. Alex Lyons and Tanner over here, two great guys I can learn from with experience at the college level. But you know, it's a great competition overall. I'm excited.
Who is the linebacker or safety that you kind of enjoy going up against?
Oh.
I feel like you have the best competition with.
Yeah, we have a lot of great guys. I'd probably have to say CY. You know, we have some good battles, but I like going against CY for sure.
What about him or his game is challenging for you or fun for you?
You know, he's another guy with a lot of experience, but at the end of the day, he's a competitor, and I feel like that's what I am too. And it's fun every time it's a battle. So.
What do you like the most about Fish's offense?
I like how the ball goes around. I like how much we use the tight end, utilize the tight end in this offense. I feel like everyone eats in this offense. So yeah.
Is it a complicated offense to learn, or how would you describe it?
It's complicated enough. You know, I think if you just do your job and you're really locked into your assignments, you'll be fine.
As far as the blocking goes, like, what do you work on a daily basis? Is it angles? Is it technique?
It's everything. You know, with a guy like Coach Paopao, who's really detail oriented, it's really everything put together into one play. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So, yeah, angles, technique, body language, feet, everything.
You had that really good catch. It was maybe 2 Saturdays ago.
Mm-hmm.
That one was kind of in the corner side of the end zone. Do you remember that play?
In the stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember about it? Can you describe what
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great ball by Jaden Delora. An opportunity presented itself, and I was able to make the play. So.
How much do you think the tight ends are going to help this offense in terms of its red zone struggle from last year?
A lot. I mean, you have a returner in Alex Lyons, and adding Tanner in there, some new quarterbacks, I think will be great this year. That's really a focus that we've had as a team, is red zone. So I'm looking forward to it.
What have you learned the most from being around Alex?
Really physicality. You know, the dude's a beast. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's strong as an ox. So really just physicality at the tight end position. So that'd probably be it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.